Hello, my name is Brandy Hofer, your host and founder of Color Me Happy, a community podcast and book, all of which I started in my in-home studio whilst in the throes of motherhood. I am an artist, author, educator, and mother to 3 beautiful boys. We live and create together in our in-home studio that is tucked away in the quiet Canadian prairies. Our podcast and community was built to empower and inspire. We chat about everything from motherhood, the art world, business, and health in the most honest and authentic way. It's totally unedited and unfiltered. If you love what we do here, become a part of our free community, Color Me Happy. We have grown the community to support our members with features and interviews. Our link is in the notes. Thank you for being here. I sure do appreciate your time. Hey. I don't know why I said that. I don't know when I came on with a hey. I'm really excited. I just finished a really cool podcast with another photographer and creative. And it was such a good conversation because we really focused on the point of collaboration and community and when creatives work together and believe in more of an abundant mindset over competitive, because there is enough jobs for everyone. And in fact, when you work together, you create more jobs and more empowerment for other creatives. And there's so many ways, like for example, artists or photographers or videographers can work together. And I told a story of, I'm not sure if you've heard as a listener, but the time that Walmart came here, I applied during COVID to do a Walmart commercial because I said that time was so precious, and picking up groceries by click and collect, it's not called curbside pickup for Walmart, I think, is such an important tool for me to save time to be a mother and get back to my creativity again. So that was the video I sent them. And then it ended up Walmart couldn't send their whole team because it was COVID, and I ended up recommending my creative friends, and they all got hired, and they got all empowered by this cool experience of working with this big team from Toronto. And it was just, Toronto. I did it wrong. I did what they all think we do in the prairies and pronounce it wrong. You say Calgary wrong. Calgary. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to insult anyone. We're all friends. Okay, so it's such a cool experience, and you can elevate one another by working together. And I love supporting other people by going on their podcast or asking our community members and Color Me Happy to come on the podcast. By the way, listeners, everyone who's on the podcast is a member of the Color Me Happy community. So we feature members every week, and be sure to share what you're working on in there. Speaking of wonderful people and collaborations, our guest today is Bree for short. Brianna is her name, and she is a wonderful creative. She does a mentorship with the Milan Institute as well, and they're so great. They've been so kind to me. I didn't go through their program, but few of them, like Ellie and they've come on my brain is losing power. I just podcast for an hour and a half. It was a long one. The Milans, my flaw in life is names. We all know it. They're so wonderful, and they all have come on the podcast. But today, Bree is on, and she is really cool. She's like a multifaceted ninja creative. Check her out on Instagram because she does like gymnastics and ninja moves with her painting. And so she's got this really big spin on being a creative, but she has grown a really big following by shifting her view and kind of being a detective on social media, and figuring out what made the algorithm tick and what worked for her, and how she capitalized on repeating some of the moves to elevate her exposure and success on social media. So she breaks it all down in a really approachable way. We also have our free new marketing freebie. It's in the link in the notes below for you to take. It's a free workbook and video. So get that. We just came out with that recently. So it really applies to this podcast. And we're focusing on marketing because it's so important for you to shift your mindset and really embrace the algorithm, embrace social media, because it is an invaluable tool and resource for you to use. And it's a really great way to, like we started off with that story of collaborating with fellow creatives and creating jobs for one another and working together, is you will find the most beautiful, wonderful creatives on social media that you can connect with, and friendships that you'll hold on to for the rest of your life. So it's, if you look at it in a really positive way, you can really grow and thrive, and have it's an online portfolio for you. That's what it is. It is beautiful. And what we talk about actually with Shannon, Amy in our last podcast, if you haven't listened, is like these really cool opportunities and collaborations come up because it's your online portfolio. So even if you're not reaching a ton of people or have a ton of followers, it's that portfolio that people always see, a catalog of your work and your abilities and what you're offering as a business. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our community supporters. We couldn't do it without you. Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center, Red Bicycle Communications, Oasis and Hot Yoga and Spin Studio, and BioClean Disaster Services. We lean on our communities for support, and we're so grateful for them at all times. And we thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time and your support in this podcast and your friendship. I just couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out at any time at Brandy Hofer Studios on Insta. We're happy to chat. We'll see you there. And okay, bye.
For funding. So I have to look like presentable. I actually I got like flown to a conference a couple of weeks ago with Discover Saskatoon. And no one, like, I had like a toque, and like I had just flown like 8 hours and like was just like so tired. And like I rode a bus with all these conference people and no one said anything to me. And then like I got there and they're like, "Hi, I'm Natalie. Nice to meet you." And I was like, I met you in the airport and I saw you on the bus, and I was like, "We've met already." And they're like, "Oh." Even though like auctionista, she was like, "Wow," because she was very like outspoken, or they were very outspoken, and they're like, "Wow, you really clean up." I was like, I don't know how to, yeah, I'm like, I don't know how to take that exactly, but that's not the first time that's happened to me either. So
Ooh.
I think, yeah, they're like, "It's okay, you were in stealth mode." I was like, I guess that's a way of putting it. You looked like shit. And I didn't even think you were the same human when you got dressed.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
It's fine. It shocks my kids even when I put on makeup. They're like, "What's up? You look very different." Like, yeah, I know.
Oh,
I think you're seen when you want to be seen, and when you don't want to be seen, it's
Yeah.
stealth mode, I guess.
yep.
But I think when you're forced to dress up, the whole like you want to go the whole other way when you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No. Yep.
you know, like actors and actresses,
Yeah.
and they look like bums on the street. And that's me. I'm like, I hate dressing up, and then the occasions where I'm not, I look totally really bad. So I'm so excited. Is this the first time we've met, like
Yeah.
talk? I just
Yeah.
feel like I know you already.
Yes. First time on a call. Yeah.
Yeah, weird. So I want to talk about your journey. It's a pretty cool one, and I like that you're a performative artist, but also an artist, like mixing. You're multifaceted, and I like that about you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, okay. I guess started my journey. Started painting 2.5 years ago. Before that, I was a professional dancer. And then the lockdown came. We all know what happens there, but it shut down the dance industry, which that was my income. Like that's how I got paid. So I was like, all right, I'll pick up other jobs to save up money to then go re-audition when things open back up again. So I started doing that. I was working like, I'd say like 3 to 4 different jobs. I was like kind of like a substitute dance teacher a little bit. And I worked as a prep chef in a kitchen. And then I worked as like a line chef at another little restaurant chain. And then I became a gymnastics coach and gym
Oh
manager.
my god.
I was a gymnastics coach for actually quite a while. I kind of made that become like my full-time thing, but it was like very demanding because I was also managing the office and finances and back ends and stuff, and then also being out on the gym floor and coaching and dealing with the parents and all that and stuff. And I love teaching the kids and everything, but just overall, like
That's the good part.
yeah, I just knew like in me like it wasn't what I wanted to be doing for the rest of my life. Like I knew all these jobs like I was taking on like they just weren't for me. But it got to the point where I really hit a breaking point. My health really just declined. I started neglecting even really taking care of myself and enjoying my passions and stuff because I was just so burnt out from working. Like I'd come home and I would just want to completely just crash, and then wake up and do it all over again. And then I would arrive at my job and I'd literally be having an anxiety meltdown in the car and wouldn't want to get out of my car to go into work. Even though like I love teaching the children, but it was just something was like, this just isn't right for me anymore. So
And how old are you?
right now I'm 22.
Yeah, I feel like we all did jobs like that in our 20s where you're like, yeah, you're in your car having a meltdown. You're like, I don't know how long I can do this anymore. Because people work you to like the bone, basically. Yeah, I had a job like that. I remember. And it took me to a breaking point in my life and it like exploded for it to change. But like it's a good thing, but like it was bad.
Yeah, like it's a bummer in a society where it's like there's so much of a push, like, go get a job, you work your butt off and just clock in, clock out until literally you're burnt out. And you can't even like be there for your family as who you are and sharing just love and all that. You're just dead. You don't want to talk to anybody. And you just keep going over this whole cycle again. And it's like, what's the point of living like this?
Yeah, like hustle culture and
yes. I mean, I get to the point like you need money, like okay, you might have to just go pick up a job and suck it up for a little bit, but if you can really find out what you're passionate about, especially by in this day and age where we have the capabilities to sell online now and become our own business owners and entrepreneurs or creators, whatever. It's so nice to have that freedom. And I think especially as women, like if you are a mom or you want to become a mom, it's like having that freedom to be home with your kids and still could bring in some income. You're teaching your children lessons about business and stuff, which doesn't get taught in many schools, I would say. So it's just nice to finally get that switch where I was like, not for me. It's time to end it before I get older and just head in a new direction. So I came to art and I just quit my jobs and pursued it wholeheartedly. Yeah.
good for you. So I think we met through the mastery. I wasn't in the mastery program because I'm a lot older than you. And I already had my BFA, but I think they just had me on live one day or something. And then we just started chatting more and more and more. And then, that's how we met mutually. So is that where it started for you with taking their program?
Yeah, I took their online program for a year. I did one of their like workshops and apprenticeship and then the outstanding artist. And then just
tell everyone about that because that's pretty cool. You can't just brush past that.
Okay. So there was 13 artists from around the world that were selected to participate in their third season of the Outstanding Artist. They had 2 previous seasons that aren't publicly posted. They're in their exclusive, I think, Art Social or Milan Art Club, account and things. But this third season, they made it public and it's on YouTube right now. So we spent a month and a half in Greece, Spestis, Greece, actually, filming for that season. And it's being released. 4 episodes have now been released on YouTube. They're taking a month break before releasing the next 4 episodes, and I think I heard there's going to be another little break and then 4 more, and then there's the finale. So none of us know who won yet. That's going to be
Really?
that's up to the public to vote for the winner. So
Oh, no one's won yet.
no one's won yet.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was like, I know who won. No, I thought Jessie won because she like moved. I was like, she hit the jackpot and she must have moved. And no, they just moved.
Yeah, I know.
She didn't tell me. This is my own like investment in the show, and
Yeah.
I was like, she must have won. Good for her. But I didn't ask or anything because I don't like to be nosy. But that's cool. So people decide on who wins. Okay, I see. That must have been like a crazy experience to, first of all, be asked, and then second of all, like, you know, go do art somewhere very cool. Like, that's a lot of artists. That's like a big bucket list for a lot of artists and creatives.
Yes, it was. It was a whirlwind and a roller coaster. Like, even just getting out there, like, we almost completely missed our flight up to Europe because new COVID regulations came in. So we had to do like all this extra testing that was the day before all that was lifted. But then the next day it all came back. So we were like unprepared.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We literally were like, I mean, it was so nice. There was people in the security line that were like, we can see you guys in a rush. Just cut to the head, you know, of the line. We're like, oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So we got there to board our flight, and then actually, thankfully, like the flight attendants and the pilots, they were late from the previous flight. So we actually had about like 20 minutes to just like sit down and chill for a bit. But we were like stressing, sweating. We were like, ugh.
Yeah.
But we made
and then getting there is hard. And then not only that, but then you're like the travel part right after that. I'm sure you were filmed the whole time.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So you're like trying to look like not in stealth mode because you're being filmed. You can't be like, oh, that was the worst.
Oh, there's definitely some moments where we were captured like that because we have an overnight painting challenge. We're all like bags.
Oh my gosh.
We're like,
be my nightmare.
Good morning. It was kind of funny though. I saw some artists, like it was like 8 o'clock when we finished. It was from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. And some artists were like, all right, guys, let's bring out the wine. You know, they're like, we just made it, 8 a.m. drinking. And I was like, you guys go, I'm good.
Do you? Yeah. I don't think I'll come out of that. Okay.
I'm like, I'm gonna it now.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, it made good memories, and it was a roller coaster.
Yeah. So what made you tell everyone about your technique? Obviously you combine movement and then your style. So when did that click? Like, I'm going to put these together, or it was always there?
No, I just think that, okay, so I first started learning how to paint for I say about a month, and, just standing up, just painting, normal. I'm just learning techniques, learning how to make proportions. And there was one time where a teacher said, if you're kind of struggling with proportions, you can flip your canvas upside down and your picture upside down, so then your brain doesn't register exactly what it is you're looking at, so you can then actually see the angles of everything. And I was like, well, what if I just flip myself upside down because I'm a gymnast and dancer? Let's just have fun. I'll just go into a headstand. I just started painting literally just for fun. And I recorded that, I was just being goofy, and I posted it, and people were like, that was awesome. Wait, you can paint while you're bouncing in your head. And I was like, okay, let me just explore a little bit, because honestly, that was truly so much fun for me. So I put paint my feet, and I would do contortions. So my feet would come over my head, and I would start painting on the canvas. And from there, just started blossoming more and more. I'm like, okay, what other things can I do? Can I combine my archery skills? Can I combine my martial arts skills and my aerial art skills? So I literally started tapping into all the things that I was training in through my childhood to then now put into art and just have fun with the performance aspect of it as well. So yeah.
So were your parents like shocked? Like, what is she doing? Or they were like, this is cool, like, good for you.
My parents are very supportive. I think they kind of wouldn't expect anything less coming from me, just because of how I've always performed and done so many different things and stuff. But I mean, I'll be honest, I'll be painting, and then like if my grandparents came over or one of my aunts or uncles came over, they'd be like, what the heck are you doing? You know, like you're upstairs, like, because a lot of the times before I had the barn studio created, I was painting outside. So I would like set it up against a building and then like put tarp behind it so I wouldn't get paint on the house and stuff. And I would be painting outside, and they'd come over and be like, what is she doing? And my mom's like,
give yourself a barn studio?
yeah. So my parents, they have a barn, and I'm in the upstairs part of it. So that's where I do all my, whenever you see me performing, dancing, any of the big spinning upside down on the hoop and stuff, that's in a barn. It's half of a fitness gym because my mom and we love doing fitness. And then the other half,
for you.
dance studio / art painting area. And then I have an indoor studio because the barn does not have any heat or air. I mean, I'll still go out there sometimes and paint, but it kind of has resistance once it gets freezing temperatures out there. But I have an indoor studio. It's small. It used to be my bedroom as a child that I just converted into my studio. And yeah, that one's just small. That's like, so if I can't get out in the barn, I'll bring it inside on an easel, finish up work and stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm dealing with right now while I'm building my school bus, and then hopefully I'll get to travel sometime soon.
Oh, cool. You're doing a bus?
Yes. And
tell me about that idea.
Yeah,
a cool brainwave.
I bought a school bus, which is funny. It's the first ever school bus I rode in was the one I bought because I was homeschooled.
Oh, wow.
That was kind of fun. I was like, wow, my first time in school bus, and I'm buying it. So yeah, I got that in 2021, and I literally wasn't exactly sure what I was doing because this was before I was an artist. So I was like, oh, you know what? Because I was working, so I was at the point like I just want to go travel. Just want to get away from working. I don't know. I'll just maybe find some dance gigs or something along the way. I don't know, perform on the streets. Like I really had no idea, but I just knew I had a fascination for tiny houses, mobile homes, and the idea of traveling and stuff like fascinated me. So we've had it for a few years. It's just my dad and I work on it literally just like on the weekends in the summertime. So it's not like we have a lot of hours into it because of course he works full time, and then I don't know how to do electric and plumbing and all that stuff. So if I tried to do it or I could easily watch YouTube videos and learn it myself. But I know that when my dad would come in and look at it, he'd be like, what did you do? Because he's better at it, you know? He'd be like, we have to redo this and I'll teach you the proper way. So instead of doing double work, it's like I just have him teach me the right way as we do it together. So.
And you'll take away the time you spend together for the rest of your life. So
Absolutely.
It's good. I know my sister stripped out like a camper, like a mini one, and she did everything herself. I was just like, I don't know how you do that. Like the plumbing and the electric and everything, like installing a new fridge and installing fixtures. Like it was really cool because it was vintage. So she tried to like stay with that retro teal vibe. And I think it was called Silver Bullet.
Oh, cool.
It had a lightning bolt on the side. So it was really sweet. And I don't like, but she grew up like she worked at the oil change place, and like she was always she's a welder, I guess. She's got her welding ticket or whatever you call it. She's very thrifty. Now she owns a yoga studio, but if the furnace breaks, she tries to fix it herself. So I don't know. She's very, that kind of mechanical mind. I guess like I have a working mind, but in a different way of problem solving.
Yeah. I agree. I can understand your perspective there. Yeah.
Yeah, but good for you. So do you have like a deadline for when you want to finish?
Well, I would have said like, oh yeah, 2 years ago I wanted to be on the road. Here we
Yeah.
are 3 years later. But I mean, I'm honestly just kind of enjoying the time with my dad, and I don't want to put pressure on him either. You know, as he's getting older, he has property and stuff that he's managing, and he's also trying to help out my mom, you know, his wife with other projects that they want to do, you know, in their lifetime. And I feel sometimes guilty trying to be like, hey, Dad, you want to work on the bus? You know, when he only has like a,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like if he has other projects that he wants to do for just his own liking, his own hobbies, you know, he's into woodworking and all that stuff. It's like I sometimes feel bad, be like, Dad, let's work on the bus.
Yeah. You, I wouldn't feel bad. Sometimes that's how I like get projects done. I start working on them and they're like, I do this to my husband because he would just say no to me. So I'm like, because I have a very active third child. So I ordered like monkey bars and a rope and like a little, you know, those gymnastic sets or whatever. Because we have long winters too. And like,
Yeah.
it's like minus 47 degrees Celsius sometimes. And it's just like,
Dang.
you cannot go outside. So I did that for the garage, and yeah, I ordered it. And what is the saying? It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. And I just like started taking the shelves down and like, yeah. And then he ended up obviously installing it. So, because he was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Yeah. So I always just like start them, and I'm like, yeah, they're like, you're doing it wrong. It's an old trick of mine. So
Well, it worked.
it does work. It gets things done. Because yeah, I mean, it is hard to pause your life. Like if you always pause, you'll never get anything, or if you never pause, you'll never accomplish anything other than, you know, being in that routine of like, well, I have this work, like, and it's hard and as you know, as like a self-made business owner, like to be like, oh, I'm gonna stop right now and do something else, because there's always something that you can do, which is great. I love that. I love and hate it, I guess, the balance between the two, because you're your own boss and you have to set the goals, and you have to set timeline, and you have to be really motivated.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, exactly. Showing up and getting dressed. Even actually in my book, there's two chapters. One is just the hardest part is getting dressed, because it is the hardest part. Like, you know, if you're working out, if you're doing anything, just put on the runners or put on the hardest part is getting dressed. And then the rest is you just do it and you feel good after, and it benefits you. And then the next chapter is don't just get dressed, play the part. So, and that was referring to the part of my life where I burnt out as in hospitality, like, you know, 12 to 14-hour work days of being on your feet and being around people. It was hard to show up, but if you didn't show up in the best version of you playing the part, you didn't make any money. So, you know, but by the time I was there for half an hour, I was having fun. So, because it's a very up-paced industry. And you're doing so many multitasking things, which was a great industry to be in, because I still take things away from that experience today, you know, hospitality, customer service, being around people, putting on a smile, even if you don't fucking feel like it.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, you know, so yeah, it's a tough role. We also wanted to talk about terrible transition on my behalf, but you just started really exponentially growing on social media. I know, because I've always loved your social media. Even when you weren't going viral, I was like, oh, her dancing. I just love your dancing and your everything. You said your karate or martial arts and your everything that you combine. Like, I love that feeling of, you know, getting into the music or just like passion taking over your whole being.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. The social media journey. Yeah, that's been a really interesting one because I really didn't start like I say going too much of anywhere until like June of this year. So like back in June, if
But
you
you kept posting. Like that
yes,
didn't stop
true.
you from posting.
That's true. I was always posting at least once a day, 6 days a week. I'd always take a break on Sunday because I think it's good to just at least have one day where it's like, don't even worry about it, just have a day to enjoy. So
Be you. Yeah.
I would have 6 days, I'd tell myself, and I at least post something. Maybe it was a picture, maybe it was a video, anything, just one thing. Because I really had no direction. I'm like, I'm just going to share what I want to share. And most of the time, like I understood like trying to build like some people say a brand, some people just try to say like kind of like your own style, like everything kind of, is similar in a way so people get to know you. So I literally was like I'd watch like other artists to try to learn because social media is new to me. I didn't get a cell phone until I was like 17 years old, till I could afford one. And then I didn't get social media until I don't know, like in the year of 2020 during COVID. I was like, I'm just going to use this to then connect with other dancers. So, yeah, my social media journey really was kind of started really late.
Yeah. Which is good. I think it's good.
I think it's good. I was so against social media growing up. I mean, so many of my friends in dance had social media and it just distracted them. Like, I love dance. And then I would see them be in the dance room with me in the class. And then as soon as we'd leave to go to the next class, they'd be on their phones, texting on social media. I'm like, it is so distracting. You're not invested in dance and stuff. But, most of them ended up going and becoming different things, like whether it was a doctor or something else. And like, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to
you're like, this is my thing.
yeah. So I was like, I don't need distractions. And I have to say, I think I credit that to my parents and how they raised us. Like I was always doing something at home after, we finished school. Then I would crochet, I would sketch, I would play outside with my siblings or something. Like we were just creative kids. We weren't, glued to screens or anything like that. So I think that allowed us to just have a lot of creativity.
You're right.
Anyways, so I got started on it late, and I was just trying to learn from like some other artists. I'm like, okay, what do I like post? And I see them post a picture of the painting, or maybe they show a painting process. So I'd record my process, and it kind of got to the point. So after doing that for about a good year, I was like, I'm kind of getting bored of watching my own videos. Like even if I'm doing backflips and painting upside down, people can only watch that so many times, and then it's just like, oh yeah, I've seen her do that before. Unless it's a new person that came to my account, they're like, whoa, what the heck? She's painting upside down, but to me, I'm like, I still got to do something for the people that have been following me for like a year on this journey. How is this journey going to evolve? Like, how am I going to keep growing as an artist in the changing algorithms and stuff and trying to market myself? So it was like this summer, there was like a switch. I started like learning more about trending audios, which I was like, so like against. I'm like, no, those are so cringy. I'm not gonna use those. But then I was like, okay, let me just try it, put my own little twist on it. And some of the trending audios were maybe they were something for like a fashion trend or something, like with clothing. I'm like, well, what if I change it and do it with art? So maybe I'll still put on an outfit because I literally just had fun putting on an outfit, maybe actually dressing up for once instead of being in my pajamas. And then I will actually do like a turnaround of one of my art pieces with the trending audio and stuff like that. And then people it started like getting traction. And it's just, I then started posting 2 reels per day because I noticed the reels were getting like more traction than the posts, just the still picture ones. So I was like, all right, let's just grow this thing because I have a ton of art sitting in my studio that needs to be sold and I need to get in front of some eyeballs. So let's just put some time into the social media because I spent a lot of time growing in my art where I felt confident and happy with showing it. Because there's a kind of a transition where you're learning art and you're like, I'm going to show it, but it's not the greatest. But I got to the point where I'm like, I'm confident now with my style. Like, I want to show it off. There's a message behind this piece, and I'm ready to show it and have fun with showing it, and create entertainment because I really do like entertainment. I never allowed myself to show just the goofball side of me or just the one I could be completely silly, but I always held that back because I'm like, they're going to think I'm so weird. They're going to be like, who is this girl? She's like wonky a little bit, maybe, But I was like, you know what? I just want to have fun actually creating these videos. If I'm going to spend so much time creating them anyway, like I want to enjoy it. So I would just get inspired by other creators. I would come up with some of my own original ideas and literally have fun. Just had fun. And it just started up and up.
Yeah. No, it did. Yeah, the quirky side. And we've talked about that on the podcast before with Jill Kelly because she owns Red Bicycle Communications, a marketing firm, and that she founded. And she's like, her biggest tip was to be vulnerable, like put that extra, whatever that is, you in it. And people appreciate it. People gravitate toward it. They're invested in you.
Yeah.
They want to see you succeed. And then of course that does happen and they send you the sweetest messages and, and you can share, your highs and your lows, like no matter what they are, people will be there for you. And it's so interesting, but really cool all at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So your tip for the podcast listeners is obviously be you. Got that. Be you. And whatever that is, like, and you were afraid and you overcame that. And you are very cute on there. And funny. Oh, and I noticed you did stitches. Did stitching help too? Like stitching someone's video?
Yes. Those have been like extra fun to do. And it gets people to have like, I don't know, I think they just enjoy seeing kind of like a comparison, whether like one of the stitches could be completely serious doing something and then I'll be like completely like sarcastically seriously but goofy and trying to still keep like a serious face. So those get a lot of humor. The thing is, like, I do find that people gravitate to humor, things that make it just funny, hysterical, because they want to share that. Like, this made me laugh, and they put it on their story, and then it's the shares that help with the algorithm and the comments. People are putting crying, laughing faces like constantly and things like that. So like, yeah, ones that really get, I think, joy and love and happiness spread a whole lot more than something that's dark and sad or something like that. I mean, I can understand sometimes if you're showing something that's very, heartbreaking and still something part of your journey, that could still get a lot of reach too, because that's a total opposite of emotion. But
I did that once. I shared a very like
I remember it. I do.
Except I was like, I can't do this every time.
It was so touching.
I know, but it was so, I'm like, you can't recreate that. Vulnerable, like such a vulnerable moment. And yeah, it did pick up, but I was like, I can't, like, I don't feel like sharing that part of myself with people every day. So then you're like, I have to figure out a new way, and I haven't yet.
Yeah, just funny moments. I mean, I was gonna say that has been a real huge helper, and it's just
I like that. Yeah, but and when you think about AI, so Instagram doesn't actually even control their AI, by the way. So I took Dina Brodsky's course, and so she had someone who worked at Instagram who was helping her. Like, they don't even know like what's happening next because it's AI. So yeah. So they're learning along with everyone else. Like, they have experts, obviously, probably the best in the world. But they're also learning what it likes as well, along with everyone else. So I'm doing a course right now on diversifying income, which is really important for artists to have like 7 or 8 income streams, which can sound overwhelming, but it's really important. And marketing. So because that marketing is so important, because like online, that's your portfolio, right? Like that's, that's telling everyone it's a really good positive thing. And so many people get overwhelmed. But when you think about it as like in a playful way, or bringing joy and happiness, people gravitating toward you and building community, I think it can be a really useful tool. Well, it is a very useful tool. And not only to just like go viral, like that's not always like you just posted anyway. And I think that's a really great lesson. But what I'm trying to say is to be a detective all the time, be curious and look at what other creatives are doing and seeing what works and what's working for them. And you're like, it might work for me. And then you'll find those, things that take traction, and then you repeat them, right? Correct?
Exactly. Yes, you do. You do want to repeat them, not like after every post, but like play around. Like that one got a lot of good traction. Okay, let me wait a couple more days, post some other things, and let's try that again with a different twist on it, but still pretty much the same cut and paste sort of style. And then you'll see like it did good again, and you're like, okay, I have something here I can play with. And it's still keep experimenting too, because you'll find that other ones will also start getting the same thing. You're like, okay, so now I have 2 things that I can play back and forth with that I know pretty much for sure they're going to get seen. Like I know it's going to work when I post this. Like, oh, I have a new art piece that I would really enjoy multiple people to see. Then I'm going to do it with this copy paste kind of a style that I know has already worked with 5 or 6 of my other reels. Because it's really quite sad though, as artists. It's like you've been working, could be like months on a piece, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna just show it, and then like maybe you get like 100 views, which is still a lot. Because I mean, if you had 100 people come into your house, you'd be like, whoa, oh my gosh, so many people came. But in a sense, as far as like actually getting enough people to possibly see it, to possibly maybe purchase it, you're just like, there's a lot of what ifs as an artist and creator, because especially if a person only has one source of income, which is just selling their paintings, then they have a lot of pressure too on themselves. It's like, how am I gonna eat? How am I gonna feed my dog? How am I gonna pay the bills for my house? If that's their only source of income, and it just kind of can put a lot of pressure on somebody. So to experiment and figure out how you can share your work and grow your audience, your collectors, and have fun while doing it. It'll just make your whole creative process, I think, more enjoyable.
And I think that requires showing up, like a certain amount of discipline and showing up daily and doing it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's some stick-to-itiveness that is required, because, there's going to be highs and there's going to be real lows too. Yeah. And I know I cried last night.
No.
I cried last night. I felt much better today. I know when my lows are coming. Every woman does. And my husband was like, you're having such a good year. He was like trying to like pump me up. He's like, I'm like, I know. And then this morning I was like, I am having a good year. It's my best year ever. It's the first time I surpassed my goal. It's the first, and I do have to celebrate that. It's my first time I surpassed my financial goal that I've had for a really long time.
Congratulations.
So, but it doesn't matter, because there's going to be lows no matter, even if you're having your best year ever. Like I still cried last night. Because like overwhelm can set in, or you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like I feel crazy. But the more it goes on, and the more I diversified and set up those multiple, the pressure came off the art, is what I'm trying to say. The pressure came off the art, because I remember I did that for over a decade, like make painting, sell a painting, right?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure to put on your creative gift.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when you set up like prints, or you did minis, or your gallery has some of your art, or I did a podcast and I did murals, and like setting up these different ways, whatever is fitting for you, even trying them and being like, I really hated making murals. That was really hard, because they are very hard. Or online classes, or teaming up with other people, or getting a full-time or part-time job to supplement your income, which Elizabeth Gilbert recommends in Big Magic. She's like, do not put the pressure on your creative gift, because it will kill it. And like, I don't agree with that fully, but that book was written in a different time, like not that long ago, but long enough where I like can use my creative gift to better my community. And when you think about it in a bigger sense and a mass sense of like who you're helping, and when you can help other creatives and help out in your physical space and community, it's like you're doing all these fun things, and then you also get to paint. And when you paint, it's like a big treat, and doesn't matter if it sells or not, really. Like, and you're like, it will sell eventually, probably. I just got to keep going, doing all the things. And it can be a lot, but it also can be a really, yeah, anyway, that was a big speech.
No, I really relate to that. Because when I had quit all my jobs, I'm like, just going all into this, which I'm grateful I had some savings built up. But like, it got to the point where my bank account was the lowest it's ever been being an artist, And just this year, I feel like I've actually gotten just like a little bit of breath back into it a bit. But still, it's kind of a mind game a little bit, because I'm like, well, I worked multiple jobs and I didn't like it, and still even throughout this year, like I would go and maybe teach maybe a couple days a week, teaching dance or
which you enjoy.
I do enjoy, and it's nice to also allow yourself to get out of the studio. But there is still a part of me while I'm there at the studio where I'm like, oh, but I really want to be painting, or like I just want to be really just still like creating and working on something. There's like still that itch in me, and I'm like, you gotta figure out something as just a nicer like passive income, where it's not so much just like so mentally focused, like, because art does take a lot of just mental focus sometimes, whether you're in the art just la 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 brain land or not. But and just like it's a lot of focus, and you're the only one that can create your art. No one else can,
Right.
So it is just you with that. But if there's something else that could just be passively just coming in, it would be so nice. And my mind has just been shifting around like how to do that, where I don't have to just clock in and clock out for that income. You know what I mean? Because that time is time away from the studio. I want to do something where I'm in the studio and there's something else that I have somehow created that's just passively coming in. And I thought prints maybe would do that, but I'll be honest, I don't sell a whole lot of prints.
I only sell a few prints when I put on a print sale. So
yeah, be honest, like people prints, like that's what you do, and they'll be like, nice income as an artist. You could probably make up as much in print sales as your original. I'm like,
unless you're doing art licensing with a big company, or you have like a massive following. And even then, I don't even know if that works effectively anymore. But yeah, it's hard. And always there's like things in the horizon that will come. But I would never discount like teaching or doing something that gets you out into the world, and to figure how you can do that with your creativity. Like maybe you could teach like custom dance classes that incorporate, whatever, painting or whatever, something unique to you, and then you're still like doing it, and it's like a break, and you're seeing people and the social aspect. I think as creatives, we avoid those situations, and we really shouldn't, because we as people need to connect with others. And we came out of something pretty crazy. And like I started also teaching physically the school system. I founded an art academy. And honestly, like, even though it's kind of hard to get there, every Tuesday, Thursday, and we doubled the program. So it was really popular. It is so fun. And there's such a good energy to working with young people who are excited about creativity. It's like, this is why we do it. And then not only that, but it's giving back to community. It's filling a social cup. It's seeing other people. And it's causing like impact that I can't even always fathom. So, you got to find those things for you. And then obviously, yeah, time is, you only have so much in a day, but I certainly believe that you can fit all these things into a day, and you just won't get to paint for 4 hours. You might get to paint for 1 instead of watching Netflix or, and always like productivity. I would have a routine where every night I grabbed a tea and went to the studio, and I was like, I got to get better. You did that too. You're like, I got to get better. There's a season where you're like, I got to get to the level of these other artists that I'm seeing. And the only way you can get better is showing up every day. And what, if that's the morning, that's evening, that's afternoon, whatever time you're most productive. And the routine of, that's why Atomic Habits is like the most popular book on Instagram. It works.
Yeah.
And it's just that like tiny windows of each day, like hitting all of those things. And I know we get tired. I get tired. I get burnout. But like, you gotta show up, because it will add up. That's how I wrote a book. It adds up.
Yep.
It all adds up. And it's about showing up, being you. And I think, like, do you feel like every day you're like, if I can't make this work, you're just obsessed with it,
Yeah, I'm like waking up thinking about art, and I go to sleep thinking about art. It's like, yeah, I tell myself, like, if there wasn't even the money, like, would I still enjoy it? Because I do want to ask myself that, like, am I just being driven just because of money? Like, no, because like I did other jobs that was trying to get money and didn't like it. Like this, like I could care less if I was making money. I needed something to be creative and enjoy, do something for myself, as selfish as that sounds. But I just needed that. And I've just been loving it so much. So even if there was a way I didn't make income on it, like would I still keep doing it? I really do think I would, because I just genuinely just enjoy studio time, music, just creating. So yeah.
Totally obsessed with it.
Yeah, I really am. Yeah.
I know. I would do it. That's what the giant mural I did. I brought other women on in my team, and I was like, I would totally do this without getting paid. And my teammate, she was like, shh. She's like, do not say that again. She's like, you deserve it. I was like, oh, I know. Like, this is 2 years of lead up work to this giant project. And I'm like, yes, I know. You're worth it. And there is a level of self-worth that you need to bring to the table. Like, yes, I would do this without getting paid, but I still freaking deserve to get paid, all the way, because I bring my heart and my soul into this, and I will make it work. And the only way to make it work is actually to get paid. So
no, that's very true, because that's how else are we going to now provide for our families and stuff, like doing what we're doing, can only spread ourselves too thin to a certain point, or we're doing so many different things. But to be in this generation where we can be doing what we love, and it can bring in some income, and other people enjoy it too, that's like a win-win for like everybody. And it's beautiful. It really is.
And I think as women, and this is a generalization, but like, I didn't start making money until I started asking for it, and finding that self-worth of I just said asking for it, and it sounded like a question. Asking for it is when it started coming, like asking for opportunities. This is my fee. The worst thing you can get is a no. and, you know, showing up in the version of you that maybe you don't feel like you're there yet, but like putting on your, getting dressed and playing the part, like just pretend for a second, like invest in, you know, like the suit or the nice outfit or whatever's going to make you feel like that person that you're walking into, and you're like, this is the person, and they're gonna take me to, if you don't feel like quite in your skin yet, you know. I think that's a good trick. Oh, I wanted to ask you, so about social media again for a second. I know we're running out of time. How are you finding your trending audios?
I think I have. So I'd say, like, okay, in the summertime, I was quite heavy on using them a lot to help my account just grow. And then once I saw the growth, then I felt like there was a little more freedom for me to start experimenting with other things. Like the one video that has actually gotten the most views on my account, I think it's over like 6.5 million views or something.
That's crazy.
And that was no trending audio. That was just, it was me, and I did it with a stitch, actually. But honestly, it was just me completely being just a goofball and in my studio painting and doing a little stitch thing. But there's no trending audio at all involved, and that one has gotten the most. I think the ones below that with the trending audio was about 2 million or something like that. So another thing is, I say as a trick, is sometimes with trending audio, you actually have to use it a couple times. So like, I remember one time I posted using trending audio, I really didn't do anything. I was like, maybe it's not really trending, you know, because sometimes I'll have the arrow, but it's really not actually getting picked up by the algorithm. So I'm like, so I let it go for a little bit, and then I saw a couple other artists using it, and they were like, boom, 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 and I was like, okay, let me try it again. So I tried it again, and it went boom, boom, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna wait a couple of days, and I'm gonna use it again, a different video. I used it again, and it went boom, boom. So you gotta, like, sometimes you can play with the trending audio, and you know it's getting good traction because usually other people getting really good traction. Maybe it didn't work the first time for you, but try it again, and then it could go up. And then it went up. Try it again. Just switch it up a little bit so people don't get bored watching your content. And you're like, oh, she's doing the same song again. She's doing the exact same thing. Why am I still following her? You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to bore them.
I've noticed a lot of things that are starting with like faces right now is like, because I like to be a detective as well.
Yes.
But anything that's starting with like, and it frustrates me when that sort of stuff, like the one time I tried jelly printing and I was like, you know, and I was like, I'm not a jelly printer. This is so frustrating. Just like try, like, so basically I've had really terrible luck because the things that I've caught on, I don't do on a regular basis, which is really frustrating. And I don't have like a ton of extra time either. I believe in making time, and I do make time for socials, but like to record new content of myself every day is very unrealistic, obviously, with our children, and you're not always like up for being on camera. Yeah, so I also like really, and Dina told me I had to start a new account, and I was like, I can't do that. Like I have a lot of posts. There's no way I'm walking away from my account. This one time, like years ago, it was like organic followers, and I was like, sweet, yeah, I have like 2,000 posts. There's no way. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not gonna help me. And I like turn it off right away. But it like put a bunch of bots on my account. And if you don't hit your 1% funnel, like it will never get out of the funnel. So I've kind of fucked my account up a long time ago. So because if it's like a very tight funnel at the bottom, and then it's like picks up on the 1%. So if you have any sort of bots, and it's like the only way you can erase them is like erasing. I erased like 5,000 followers like by hand. And so I was like, okay, yeah, so it's probably never gonna grow, but I'm just like, I'm not starting over anyway. So one day I hope that I have a very catchy
whatever, and it helps. But yeah, my account's a little screwed up from that one. Like, it's never going to happen easy. Never hire anyone. Never make that mistake. That will be my one big tip.
Wow. I don't even know if I have bots or not. Like, I don't know.
You're fine. You have viral videos that will just continue to work and help you grow organically anyway. So you're good. You'll just continue to grow. And I love seeing that, because that's proof that anyone can grow, you know, if you put the time and the effort in, and you're always curious and you're always a detective, and you're showing up consistently. I think that's pretty much the takeaway. Any other big tips, or is that it?
I think also I found out quite recently with this new launch I did of one of my works. It was a project of 432 mini paintings, and I was working on it since August, but I didn't tell my audience about it until October. Okay, so you kind of have to be a little strategic with your audience, because if you tell them too many things at once, they'll get confused with what to follow you along on. Because like at that time, I was having art shows I was going to in August. I had a whole bunch of commissions come in August and September. So I was like, all right, I'll show my audience what I'm focusing on more right now, which is these commissions. On the side, I'm already starting working on these mini projects, and I started recording for those minis and things, and showing the behind the scenes of like me getting the shipment of the boxes coming in of all these 400 canvases and stuff like that. But I didn't share about it with my audience until after I had finished my commissions work, and kind of was able then to share with them my commissions, so that they know that I do commissions when I'm open for them. So I'm kind of like educating my audience as I go. But then in October, I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna start sharing about this, because obviously the holiday season is coming up, and I want them to get really excited about this big reveal. So I start sharing like, hey guys, I'm going to be working on 432. Oh no, actually at first I didn't even tell them I was working on paintings. I just said, all right guys, I have something big coming up. I have a couple giveaways, because you guys have all helped me grow. And there's also a little secret I'm dropping, and it involves the number 432. And I'll just leave it for there right now. So you guys start building up curiosity with your, audience too. And just it's like dropping a little piece of candy in front of them and walking. It's like another little piece of candy. And so that they keep coming back. They're like, okay, what's the next piece of candy she's going to give us? What's the next tip, So then I started doing that. And then after the giveaways, because I told them I was going to do giveaways, so I did the giveaways. And then I actually announced what the 432 project was. So that was some paintings. And they're like, what? Okay, she's working on 432 minis. But I was like, but I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be when it's all together. So there was still like more candy coming, right? So there built up so much anticipation and excitement and curiosity for them to see this piece. And on that day of launching day, I was such a mess, Brandy. I had 1.5 hour nap that morning, like from 4:30 to 6, because I was trying to finish all these paintings for my goal I set for myself to get it done. I was trying to upload hundreds of paintings onto my website to get ready for the launch, email all my collectors, make a post, and I was like you said, get dressed, right? So I was in my pajamas all day. I hadn't taken a shower, nothing. I was like, I'm going to put on a black dress that you would wear to
loved it. It was great.
I'm going to just fancy for this photo. I kind of freshened up my face a little bit. And then I took my phone, took the picture, I smiled, and I was like, okay, get out of this dress, and I got to finish uploading. And then I was like, shoot, now I got to make the post on Instagram and reveal it, because I said it's dropping at 6 p.m. So all my audience, they were waiting for 6 p.m. because I told them the exact time of when it was coming. And then when I posted, I'm like, I have no idea how this is going to do, because it's a picture one. It's not a reel. I have no idea, but I'm just exhausted. I'm so excited for this to be done. Posted it. I've never gotten such an amount of feedback or shares, comments ever before.
Never discount actually carousels. Still, you got to throw them into your mix.
I was like, but it was honestly such a shock to me. It just how much a piece had touched, and how the audience they all showed up. and
They were part of your journey.
they knew that I had spent 4 months working on this, and they were excited to share about it for me and to others. And I was just so, it was so touching. Like, I was scrolling and those comments coming in, I couldn't keep up with it. I had to turn off Instagram and just be like, wait, Bree, you just did this. You did it. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was insane. And then orders were coming in. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I've never had that before. And it was so rewarding. I mean, I'm still getting orders. I have like stacks of like thank you cards and certificates and stuff still to sign and paintings to varnish. But I'm still beaming and just on adrenaline from this whole thing. And I think just like I
You
said,
did it.
yeah, dropping candies for your audience. If you could come up with a project, big or small, but if you can just somehow make it interesting for them to follow along on what it's going to be, it's going to make it fun for them to stay with you and be invested in you as an artist and as a person. So,
Yeah, that is great last advice. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's very useful for people to keep that in mind. That's useful for me. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's so great to meet you. Tell everyone your socials so they can follow you.
Yeah, it's Bree_Fitzpatrick. That's BRI_FITZPATRICK. That's on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Yeah.
You post all those things daily?
No. I
It's like, holy shit.
summer, like, okay, right before June, I was like posting on like all of those, like each day. Like, I would make it really mainly for Instagram, and like while I have it, I'll just go quickly post on TikTok, go to YouTube, go to Facebook, But I was like, I'm spreading myself so thin, and I don't even know what's working, what's not, because I'm looking at all these different algorithms. So then I deleted TikTok off of my devices for the whole summer, and I was like, get rid of that distraction for right now, and I'm going to focus on Instagram, even though TikTok was higher follower counts at the time than my Instagram. But I was like, I enjoy Instagram a lot more. It's
friendly.
Yeah. So I was like, I deleted TikTok, focused on Instagram, and that's good to have a focus because then that grew. And then I came back to TikTok, like the past 2 months, just to try to share some of the things that I did on Instagram that I knew went really well. I'm like, I wonder if they'll go quite well on TikTok. They didn't. I get like 100 views. I'm just like,
oh well.
Just like, I don't know. I just don't enjoy the platform as much. There's not as much as that community aspect.
I don't spend time on there either. But I'm not like addictive personality of like I don't like video games. I don't like.
No.
Yeah, so maybe that's it. Like a lot of people, like my studio assistant, she's like, yeah, I'll get like really, and I'll sit on here, and I was like, really? I'm like, why?
I don't.
But
like as soon as I would
busy body, like I gotta, scroll.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I just find things easier to search on Instagram too, and like
it's where your friends sit. I say sit where your friends sit.
Yeah. So I'm at the point where I'm like, I think I'll just delete it off of my devices again. Like, it gave me more free time instead of like, okay, social media so much. But I am finding good traction on YouTube Shorts though. So I am taking some Instagram Reels and posting on YouTube Shorts, and some of them can get quite a few thousand or up to 20,000 views, which is quite nice to get some subscribers over there. Because in 2024, I'd like to do some longer form content of showing what actually goes on behind the scenes here, because Bree, you do so many different things. Like, what is it like in your life? And I'm like, I don't know if it's really that interesting, but I'll take you for a journey and show you what business I so
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I pay someone to take my content from Instagram and put it on YouTube because I really don't have that kind of time. But yeah, she does my shorts. I was like, because I'm already creating content and I'd just like you to reuse it. So however that looks for you, if you have time to post or reuse or recycle something you're already doing in a way, like blog posts get really good SEO. If I do a weekly newsletter anyway, so getting all of those different ways set up when you can recycle as much as you can, I think is a good idea with consistency. So I think you should explore YouTube. I think that's great. It's a good platform for creatives to grow and, create an income and different followers. People aren't quite as, there's really weird comments, but
Yeah.
like, strange. Like, I don't look at them. I'm like, I can't do the YouTube people. They're so sorry, YouTube, but like they're just like,
Yeah.
it's just random people who don't really understand you. They're just commenting, and you're like, because Instagram people are like invested in you, but
Yes.
on YouTube it's just really random people
Yes.
saying really random stuff.
Yeah.
It could be a little kid. Like, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
anyway, I was so good to meet you, and I'm sure we kind of chat off and on anyways. You're very engaged in your social media, so I appreciate that. And thank you for your time today. It was great to meet you.
Yeah, thank you so much for reaching out. I've always been enjoying following along your journey. When we did connect, and then seeing how your mom, you involve your kids with it, it's very inspiring to me because I hope to one day be a mom. So thank you for sharing that.
You can do it. It's not easy, but you can do it. It's
and I'm
complete chaos. Yeah, it's complete chaos. But yeah, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy you saw growth, and after watching you like post and post and post and post and stick to it, and then it's like boom, and I was like, yes, she did it finally.
Thank you.
It's like those were like lots of effort, so
If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels. Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it.